So who really is Orry? There have been several discussions around who he is and what he actually does for a living. He's often been seen with some of the topmost Bollywood stars, industrialists as well. Some of them call him a social climber. His critics have even said that he's just a friend of the celebrities, and of course, some believe him to be famous for being famous. In fact, he's been snapped, remember, with some of the topmost celebrities like Salman Khan as well, international stars. He's known to be friends with actors such as Janhvi Kapoor, Ananya Pandey, Urvashi Rautela. You have all these pictures of him seen with the topmost stars of Bollywood. But at the end of it, look at the influence that he wields. And that is what's important, not whom he's friends with, but the number of people he can actually reach out to. On Instagram, he has 1.6 million followers. He's got 137,000 subscribers on YouTube and even on Snapchat. Some of his videos actually go up to 595,000 views per video. That's just some of them, the highest views that he's been managing to get. So this is why this is a problem, when he wields influence to this extent. But it's not the first time that we are seeing celebrities misusing their influence. Let's remind you, of course, one of the most famous cases which we've seen of late, you have Ranveer Alabadia. The charge that he had faced is objectionable content as part of his India's Got Latent, where he made jokes about incest and watching your parents. Then you have status check, of course. For that is that the Supreme Court has, there's something very dirty in his mind. This is the highest courts of our land who's come out and said this. Then you also have others such as Samir Rana. He, of course, was also part of India's Got Latent, and the charge that he faced is objectionable content as well. In his case, the Maharashtra police have issued second summons to him. Then you have others. If you go back, remember Elvish Yadav? Well, he was charged with using snake venom to get a high. FIR has been registered and that case is on. There are others also who've been caught in the crossfire at times, ideologically, at times illegal as well. Then you have the likes of Munawar Farooqi, for example. He had hurt religious sentiments. He is a charge that he faces as well. The status is that the Supreme Court had granted him interim bail as well. So let me go across to people who know very well what it feels like to wield influence, but also how to do it responsibly. We have joining us today on the show Paras Tomar. He is an actor, influencer. Sanjana Galrani is also joining us, an actress. Sanjana, I'm going to come to you first. Why is it that off late it seems to be that influencers are perhaps having the worst possible influence on the next gen, perhaps?
I think people are looking up to them and banking at being influenced by them. But Orry has always been a very naughty and notorious person around on the block from day one. He's been known to be going to parties and making those funny actions with all the actresses, doing some, raunchy dance moves, touching people here and there in the wrong places just for attention and just to go viral. So जिंदगी को एक मजाक के format में बना के रखा है इन्होंने. But when it comes to the jokes, it's fine. When it comes to the actresses and him being internally comfortable in doing whatever in their sign languages and their dance moves, that is also fine because they're doing it at clubs and they're doing it at commercial events to gain some kind of a publicity and some kind of a social media following. But the same pattern definitely cannot be followed in spiritual places. Firstly, if you're going to a spiritual place, you might be a prime minister, you might be a layman, you all are the same. You need to go there with great respect because बहुत सारी परंपरा, संप्रदाय, lot of emotions are attached of people when you're going to a spiritual place which is as pure as a Vaishno Devi. And after going anywhere like that, I remember when I had been to Shirdi, in the entire area, non-vegetarian is not allowed, alcohol is not allowed. You have to abide by the rule. You might be Orry or you might be XYZ or you might be the biggest person, you might be Bill Clinton, it does not matter. Go there and respect, pay your respects and come out with respect. You know, because it hurts a lot of religious sentiments, and these are the issues which really provoke people to come out and then burn tires and have small kind of wars over there in the city. It's a real pain, you know, to see people's emotions getting hurt. So you have to be very emotional when you're going to a spiritual place, pay respect and come out respectfully and hold your integrity and dignity because so many people look up to your action.
Right.
And you can't carry alcohol bottles to such places. For God's
Absolutely.
sake, you're going for God. You're going for spirituality. Then how can you carry alcohol bottle and
Those
go to
are
such places?
absolute no-nos because there is a very
Yes,
specific
absolute no.
laid down norm. What was done was illegal. There's no going around it. But Paras Tomar, there are many who are saying, I beg your pardon, that a line needs to be drawn. At times it is illegal, at times it is curbs. That influencers are part of a woker culture. That what they represent is what the youngsters represent. Who will draw the Lakshman Rekha? I'm not talking about when it comes to something which is illegal, as this one was blatantly illegal. But many are saying about what the influencers say. Let them have a voice. If you crack down on it, it is an attack on free speech. Paras, you need to unmute yourself. Okay, I still can't hear you. Oh, well, there seems to be a bit of a problem there. We'll try and get that corrected. Let me go across to Sanjana. Sanjana, is that the problem? Views के लिए कुछ भी करेगा. At times,
व्यूज के लिए साला कुछ भी करेगा. अभी एक नया गाना बनना चाहिए इन्फ्लुएंस का. पहले गाना था ना, आई थिंक लव के लिए कुछ भी करेगा. नाउ इट इज व्यूज के लिए लिटरली कुछ भी करेगा. कपड़े उतारोगे या कुछ भी अपने मुंह से कुछ भी बोलोगे या नॉन सेंसर्ड बात करोगे, सेंसर्ड प्लेटफॉर्म है या नहीं नहीं देखोगे, स्पिरिचुअल प्लेस है या नहीं नहीं देखोगे, जो मन चाहे जो मुंह चाहे बोलोगे. दिस शुड रियली बी कंडेम्ड. वेयर आर वी हेडेड टू एज अ कंट्री? एंड आई गेट वरिड अबाउट पीपल हु आर क्रिएटर्स इन बिटवीन द एज ऑफ 10 and 16. अच्छा, so he did it and he was in national headlines and I'm just 14-year-old. Imagine I do something like this and I will become Shah Rukh Khan overnight, is what they will think, and they will consume this kind of an idea. And
also, Sanjana, anyone and everyone can subscribe to these YouTube channels. You have children at the age of 10, 11, 12 who are on Insta as well. Anyone can actually consume this content.
There has to be a censorship board for the internet. It is high time, because the kind of stuff on the internet, I'm really getting worried. Even I am a mother of a child, and it worries me to see. Obviously, we're putting the kids mode on and giving it to him, but there will be a day when they encounter things online which you don't want them to see before time. And this is a real worrisome thing. And it's high time that and this can happen only through a government faculty or a minister who's responsible for IT in the country, for and they can form a censor board or something like that, saying, okay, this is where we need to stop. Sort of a thing, because I don't think the film industry is anywhere bothered about how dirty or how clean the internet is. So this has to happen by the people of the government. And if any minister is watching this interview right now, since we're on such a big platform, I would request you, please make a censorship board for the internet of the country, that it should have some norms that people can do this and cannot do this. And if you don't abide by what you cannot do, then you have mysterious mysterious action taken for your mysterious content that you have put up, that you are really going to be punished, and people should be even scared to do something like this. So I think if any minister is watching, please take action on this, because everything is getting out of hand when it comes to the internet in our country.
In fact, that is the next big problem. For example, Orry, if we just look at Orry himself, the number of followers that he has on Insta is 1.6 million. Many of them could be children. And of course, we also don't know if the YouTube subscribers that he has, about 137,000 of them, many of them could be children as well. Paras, that's one of the biggest problems. When it comes to an influencer, we're not quite sure where that content is. Does there lie more onus on the influencer to put out responsible stuff rather than things which may trend, things which may get views?
The fact of the matter is we've given the cerebral ability of a lot of the influencers too much credit than it really deserves. A lot of these cases are literally a case of them simply not knowing enough. We've also made people who are not really the brightest people, the stars in the country. You've also had these people who've not had journalistic training, who've not had broadcast training. They haven't really understood what to say, what not to say. They haven't really figured out the anchor wrinkles from their faces about saying whatever they want to do. They've simply been conditioned to one thing, which is about how to go viral. Now, this particular case is a little beyond just the whole daira of what is moral. Moral to chalo is still, everyone's morality is different. But the reality of the fact that when you're going to one of the biggest Hindu shrines, one of the biggest Hindu pilgrimages, we're going to Vaishno Devi, it is common knowledge for most of us that you can't be consuming alcohol. In fact, I don't think you can even carry liquor there.
No, you're
now,
not
even
allowed.
if you give someone the benefit of the doubt, say, nahi pata tha, but I think from what I understand from this story, I think the manager did tell them that you can't have it.
Yes.
The problem with this whole scenario, at least in my head, the way I'm seeing it, is the fact that we have also glorified these people to such an extent. Let's be real. I have been to Hindu towns. I have seen a lot of blue-collar job people drunk around rickshaws, autos. But these are not the people who will make the headlines. That person may have done something absolutely random. We will never know about it. The fact is, we're also living in a time in a space where somebody who is famous is also going to be a target, which means they have responsibility to themselves.
Absolutely.
To be careful, to be mindful. Tumko agar daru peeni hai, you go to Manali, you go to Bangkok, you go to New York, you stay in Mumbai, you drink as much as you want. If you're going to Vaishno Devi, in fact, even that hashtag or whatever he put up, it says Vaishno Devi vibes, that feels like you're going to a spa. It is something which is a sacred Hindu shrine. You know what I mean? So even the temperament, the problem is, and I don't want to demean anyone else, but the problem is we have also made celebrities out of people who don't deserve to be there. The fact is we are discussing these people on national news. Why? Because like you said, the numbers are so big. 1.6 million is something that a lot of big Bollywood stars do not enjoy that kind of clout. Also, the other part of it is that they've also begun to realize, much like what Rakhi Sawan did before, social media, everything that they were doing, they had to be more irreverent, they had to be more cheeky, they had to give you shock value. So the thing is, all the content they're trying to sort of garner has to make your eyeballs sort of pop out of your socket. In this, sometimes they forget the lines of legality, and that is the problem. So I know on one hand, it's very easy to say, look, listen, they're dumb, they don't know anything.
Paras, that is the problem.
That is the problem. Now, on the one hand, they also feel the influencers also, I have to say, there's also a big chip on their shoulder where they say, we can get away with this because we'll get a lot of public sympathy. Now, like the other case that you just talked about, the Ranveer Alabadia case. Again, there is a dichotomy in the way things happen. There is a double standard. Now, that particular remark that was made, the Supreme Court went out and said that, he has a dirty mind. But let's also be real, while we all took the high moral ground to our mothers, the biggest two galis in this country is MC and BC, which everyone is saying, right? You also had a Mirzapur where incest was talked about. But currently the political climate does not allow you. So if you're an influencer who enjoys that much freedom, that much popularity, you have to then start using your brain a little bit more, saying, bhai, ye galat hai, ye nahi karna, tum mat karo. Agar dal do to story mein daru mat dikhao. First of all, that is illegal.
You made very interesting points. I'm running out of time. Sanjana, I'll give you last 10 seconds.
See, if you're so modern that you can think you can go anywhere and do whatever you want, then don't go to spiritual places, for God's sake, is what I would like to say. Such people who are youthful and who are addicted to their habits and who cannot let go of their habits even for a single night. If you think your habits are so superior and if you're so great and if you're so modernized, please don't come to spiritual and religious places. You don't belong to this place because this place is not for you to vibe.
And everything cannot be for a hashtag. Yeah. Everything cannot be for views. Everything cannot be to make viral content. Something that even Paras has touched upon. The fact that it's one thing to go viral. We all want shows to do well. I'm an anchor. I know I want my show to do well. But at what cost? Will it be at the cost of it being completely illegal, unacceptable, and also always we have to be very mindful about whom we are reaching out to. Today I'm standing here. I represent Times Now, and there is a varied viewership who's going to be sitting and watching. Mothers, sisters, brothers, all of them sitting together and watching. You have to be mindful as to whom you are catering to, because with, of course, that kind of an influence comes a lot of responsibility as well about what you say and if you're saying the right thing, if you're setting the right influence. Thank you so much, Paras Tomar as well as Sanjana Galrani, for joining us. With that, a short break. Don't go anywhere. I'll return in 2 minutes.